For this recipe, I'm joined by a very special guest. This is my daughter, Charlie, and she's going to help me during this recipe, aren't you, darling? Yep. All right, so what I need you to do while I just go through what this recipe involves, we need our herbs torn up a little bit. So if I give these to you, if you can take them, I need to be about half as long as that. So if you just tear them in half and put them there, do you reckon you can do that? Thanks, darling. All right, you get started on that. For the rest of the recipe, I'm going to do mussels cooked over the Ozpig. So you need some sort of pot. The Ozpig comes with a great wok. So we've seasoned this wok, it's ready to go. Normally you would need something that you can put a lid on to make mussels, but not for what we're doing. Because we're going to have such fierce heat coming from the bottom from the Ozpig, the mussels will still open. They'll steam and open without having that lid put on top to create that steam inside the pot or the pan. So put that on and start getting it nice and warm. Mussels here, now these are live mussels. So you can buy live mussels in vacuum-packed seals, and they've got the salt water in there with them, so they can still filter and feed in the salt water for a couple of weeks. So when you take them out of the bag, if you squeeze them, that's now closed because it felt something was trying to attack it, so it closes up. So they're live mussels. And you can, in the bags that you get them in at home, if you just put that bag in the microwave, that bag will steam inside the microwave. If you put it in there for 2 or 3 minutes, and you'll be able to open the bag up and have mussels you can just eat straight out of the bag. But we want to add some flavours to it. So when our wok is smoking like it is now, we can put our mussels in. All right, so you see the amount of steam that creates just from the mussels going in. So they're starting to heat up, and it's the heat that makes them open. And then once they open up, it's that steam that gently cooks them. So we need that. To go with that, I'm going to cut up 2 cloves of garlic. How you going there, darling? Good? Good girl, you're doing a great job. Pop that in. 1 chilli, do the same, just cut that into rounds. These are pretty hot chilies, so I might go half a chilli. And then I want to create some more steam in there. Oh, look at that, darling, good job. So a little bit of stock. You can use white wine if you want to use white wine, but Charlie's not a big fan of white wine, so we're going with about 1/4 cup of stock. Then Charlie's herbs. You happy with that? That enough? Yep. So we'll pop in, we've got some chives. Pop them over the top. Oh, do you want to put the parsley in? So I'll bring the pan over to you. I'm going to pop the parsley in there. So all of it, so grab all of that and throw it in. Yep, good girl. Put that back over the heat. Lemon, did you want to squeeze the lemon in?
Yeah.
Yep. Well done. All right, pop that back on. And then if you can you get me a spoonful of cream out of there? And you can see they've started to open up. See that one there? So that's enough steam just coming from that heat from the Ozpig to get them to open, which is all we want. Sometimes when you put the lid on, you can cook them too fiercely and they start to go rubbery. This way they'll stay nice and tender, and we can take them out as they cook. So if that one's good, you can take it out and put it in a bowl. Good girl. All right, pop that in. Well done. Up, up. Good girl. All right, a little bit of cream. Stir that cream in. And then they've probably got 2 more minutes and they're ready to come out. And a good way I suggest to do it when you're cooking this way, like I said, get your serving bowl. As they open up and cook like that, take them out, put the mussel in the bowl, and then you can pour all of that stock or that soup, what you would use to soak up with some bread, pour that over the top of the mussels at the end. Or you can just serve them in the pot like they are, which is how most people are going to do it. What do you think? Do a good job? Yeah? You want to wave to everyone at home? Say thank you. Thanks for watching. All right, we'll plate these up and we'll try them and give them a go at home. They're really, really simple. If you've got kids, go with stock if you want to instead of white wine. The white wine does tend to put kids off a little bit. So something like stock, even some water is all that you need just to get that steam going. My food stylist, Michelle Crawford, has recently moved into her new studio in the Huon Valley in southern Tasmania. The building she's now in is one of those iconic small town buildings with a rich history. Recently I caught up with her and my photographer Sam Shelley to learn a little more about the building and what she has planned for it.
Hi, Ben.
That sounds like a very heavy door.
It is. Come in, come in. Welcome to the Beaumont.
Wow. It's a
Step
beautiful
inside.
space. Sammy,
How are you?
how are you?
Good, good.
So I thought what would be great is I get to see you guys do this little magical dance that you do quite often when you're creating content for me or other people. But I thought it'd be nice for people at home to see what goes into styling food, shooting food. What do you think?
Sounds great.
All right,
Let's get on
let's
to
get
it.
into it. So tell me a bit about this space.
So this building is known as the Beaumont. It was built as a bank in 1906. That was when Franklin was a booming town, lots of money from apples and timber and berries.
Yep.
So a local GP bought the building and turned it into a hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
So a GP turned it into a hospital?
Yeah, so he was the local doctor and needed a space that he wanted to set up because there was no hospital here in the Huon. So he ran it as a hospital from up until the late 60s.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was mostly maternity. 3,000 babies were born here. So they're known as Beaumont babies.
Beaumont babies.
Yeah, so lots of people like Francis is a Beaumont baby and lots of people from the valley sort of have fond memories of the building. It's very close to a lot of people's heart because, they have fond memories of it.
And where were they born?
They were born in the kitchen. So there's a tiny little room I'll show you. They could only have one person at a time. Not enough room to swing a cat is one of the what the nurse, the matron said, matron Canning. So yeah, so very tiny, enough for one person on each side of the bed. Yeah, Then became an antiques shop in 2004.
That'd be a great antique shop.
Yes, it was an antique shop which we used to come here, buy a lot of furniture in our other place in the Huon Valley.
Yep.
So we knew the building well. So sat on the market for about a year. No one really wanted to buy it. And we just thought,
Why not?
why not? It kind of fits with what we're going to do.
You're buying some history.
Buying some history. Upstairs is the old bank manager's apartment, so we're going to turn that into an Airbnb. So that'll be a separate 2-bedroom apartment that people can rent.
Yep.
This will be a studio space for us, but also I want to do events and classes. We've just got that beautiful big Aga installed.
Yeah, that's an amazing oven.
Yeah, so we're going to have pop-up events. I'd love to invite people to come and cook or teach workshops, whatever.
Yep.
So nice space for that. And then we live in the back part of the building. So me, my husband and my 2 children.
Wow,
So.
how have the 2 kids taken to it?
Well, yeah, I think my teenage daughter finds it a bit so far out, so far out of town. But it's great, there's a bus stop across the road, so they can catch... But my son is into blacksmithing. He's 14-year-old and he makes knives. So he's got his own workshop out the back. We've putting together a forge for him, so... Yeah, he
makes his own knives.
Yeah, he's becoming... Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah, so he's...
You might have to have a chat with him at some stage.
I did ask. He was going, no.
Oh, really?
I said, just leave some knives out. He's going, no.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you for showing us the beautiful space that you've got here. It is fantastic. Yeah. And Sam, mate, it's always good to see you. Thanks so much for coming down and shooting. And I know the work that you guys have done for me over many, many years, from the first cookbook to all of the dishes that you do for the websites and stuff now. So thank you very much.
No worries.
It's good
Thanks,
to
guys.
see you.
Peri Peri chicken, or jerk chicken as it's sometimes called, is very, very similar. The flavours that go as the sauce or the basting that goes over top are slightly different, but the cooking technique is exactly the same. You want to cook over charcoal wherever you can if you're making these sorts of chicken recipes. So we've got our char grill plate on our ice pig. We've got charcoal in the belly, so you're going to get that nice charred flavour, which is what you want with these char grilled chicken recipes. And then I've got an assortment of spices here I'm going to throw in to make the sauce that I'm going to baste the chicken with as we cook it. First thing is this, which is smoked paprika. About a tablespoon of that. Got some garlic, which I'm going to chop. Just going to slice reasonably thinly. Again, when you're making marinades, you don't have to worry too much about the garlic or the chili or anything that's going in there to be sliced super thin, because you're not actually going to cook the garlic, the chili, and so on. You're just trying to get the flavour out of it to permeate the liquid that you're going to baste over the top of whatever it is that you're cooking. So it doesn't matter if you have this thin, thick, crushed, doesn't matter. A couple of cloves of garlic, which I've sliced thinly. Then red wine vinegar. Lemon. I've got enough acidity in there from my red wine vinegar. So now I just want the zest. I want the flavour of lemon without the acidity of lemon. So the zest is going to give me that. So that'll give me my lemon flavour without the acidity of the lemon, because I've got that vinegar. Chili, same thing as I said before with the garlic, just chop, thinly slice this. We're not going to eat it, so it doesn't matter if it's uniformly sliced or diced. We just want the flavour of chili and the heatness of chili. Pop that in. Good pinch of salt, a little bit of oil, some dried oregano, about half a teaspoon of dried oregano, ground coriander, about a teaspoon of ground coriander, and then about the same, about a teaspoon of ground cumin. Mix all that together. All right, so you've got quite a pasty sort of liquid, which is packed full of flavour. So the oregano, the salt, the cumin, the coriander, paprika is all in that really intense flavoured liquid. And the chili and the garlic is going to impose its flavour on that the longer it sits. So there are two ways you can do it. One, you can baste as you cook the chicken, or you can throw the chicken in there, coat it all, and then cook it. I'm going to throw it in and coat it. I'm going to leave it to sit for about half an hour. I'm going to leave it to sit outside. So I don't want to put it back in the fridge and chill the chicken right down, because then I'm putting something that's 4 degrees on something that's hot, and I need to get the inside of the chicken through to about 70 degrees. It's going to take way too long. I'm going to burn the outside spices before I cook the chicken through to the middle. This way, I'm putting something that's 20 degrees on and trying to get it up 70 degrees, so I won't have that problem. The chicken thighs, pop them in my mix. Give them a mix around, get them really well coated in that spice mix, and then leave it to sit for about half an hour, and then we're ready to cook. So that's been sitting there for about half an hour, and it's really nicely coated with all of that spice mix. So now we can go straight onto our char grill plate. Now, cook time for that is going to, depending on how hot your coals are, is going to take about 12 to 14 minutes. Always go a little bit longer with chicken thighs. They won't dry out as much as breasts will. So you can afford to get a little bit more colour. 8 minutes each side is going to give you a perfectly cooked piece of chicken. That's been a good 16, 20 minutes, I reckon. So they can come off. I've just cut that one there just to make sure it's cooked through, and I'm happy with that. So they can come off. Sit them there to keep them warm. I've got one more thigh here to go. That on. Once that one's done, they're ready to serve. Those ones there will stay nice and warm next to the Ozpig on the warming plate while this one cooks through. So you don't have to overload the char griller plate to try and get everything cooked. Cook it in batches and just keep it warm sitting next to the Ozpig. Steak and potatoes is a classic meal for most people here in Australia. I'm going to show you how you can do a tweak on steak and potatoes with your Ozpig. Potatoes I'm going to cook in the jacket. So the little shelf that falls down here is perfect for this because I can lean the potatoes on that and cook them through in the coals. And then my eye fillet I'm going to char grill on top on the char plate. So the first thing I have to do is get my potatoes ready. So we'll go 4 potatoes. I want to cut them in half. And if you can help it, don't cut all the way through so that you can open that bit up and it kind of stays together. It doesn't matter, it just is easier to deal with later. I need a little, probably 10 grams of butter in between each cut. In with that, I mean, you can add whatever you want. Classic flavourings for a hasselback potato, which is what we're doing, is bacon, onion and cheese. So I'm going to go with the classics, bacon, onion and cheese. Before I do that, get off a bit of foil. I'm going to do these one at a time. The potato in the middle, some bacon. Push some of it down into that cut. If some of it falls off to the side, it doesn't matter. Same with your onion. Spread that over the top, and with some cheese over the top. And then I'm going to wrap that up. So at the moment, there's lots of foil at the top here. So I just want to reverse that on the other side. So get another piece of foil, not as big this time, about half the size you had before. And wrap it so that everything comes together on the other side of your potato. So it's now evenly protected all around. You've got your butter in there, which is going to melt. You've got all your flavours, onion, cheese, bacon. That'll all melt down and start to cook, and everything will come together inside that little foil package. So we're going to do that with the other 3. These are always really nice to finish off with a little bit of sour cream as well. And chives are nice. I'm going to finish mine when they come out with a little bit of dried oregano, but chives are also really nice. And this foil is actually quite protective. You could throw these, once that fire gets down a bit, I could throw them right in on the coals and they would still be fine. I'm just going to sit these here, right at the front, where they're nice and close to that orange glow of my coals. They'll take about 10 minutes one side, 10 minutes on the other. So I'm going to give them 10 minutes. When I turn them, I'm going to start cooking my eye fillet. 2 eye fillets, a little bit of oil on them, and a little bit of salt. Turn them over. A bit of salt and oil. They are ready to go, and they'll take about 10 minutes to cook as well. So probably 4 minutes one side, 4 minutes the other, and rest for a couple of minutes. So as soon as I turn those potatoes, these will be ready to go on. So I've just peeled those potatoes out of their foil skins. So we're ready to go now, meat and potatoes. So stack my spuds on here, which are nice and charry. You can see the one, I mean, that one was the one that I gave heaps of butter to. A little bit more cheese on top. Another knob of butter. And a good pinch of salt. And then my dried oregano. And my steaks. So with these, I want the juice to sort of leach out of them and run all over the potatoes. So I'll place those on top like that. It's almost like loaded fries, but camp version of loaded fries. And there we go. Meat and potatoes, Oz Pig style. By char grilling on top of the Oz Pig and then using the actual coals inside the Oz Pig to cook those potatoes.